All right, today we're diving into something, well, a little different. We're going to look at a pretty wild teaching method, using ancient biblical stories to explain modern math. Seriously. We're going to break down how one particular source takes these epic tales and turns them into a surprisingly clear lesson on a concept that trips a lot of people up: integers.
I mean, it's a fair question, right? At first glance, it seems like a huge stretch. But what if the way these stories are built, with heroes and events and timelines, is actually the perfect way to unlock abstract ideas? That's the big idea we're going to dig into today. So let's treat this like a little case study. We're not just asking if it's possible. We're getting into the nitty-gritty of how this source actually does it, the mechanics of turning a story you might know into a math lesson you can actually use. Okay, so before we jump into the stories, we need to get on the same page about what they're trying to explain in the first place: integers. For a lot of us, this is the point in math class where things started to get a little fuzzy. So, here's the official definition from the source material. Integers are basically all the whole numbers, but they go in both directions from 0. Now, positive numbers, we get those. We use them to count stuff all day long. The real hurdle, the thing that can be kind of tough to wrap your head around, is the whole idea of negative numbers. And this really frames the challenge perfectly. Positive numbers are about things you have, right? Gains, moving forward. But negative numbers, they represent what's missing or what you owe, a debt, a step backward. And bridging that conceptual gap is exactly what this whole story-based method is trying to do. Which brings us to the core technique. How in the world do you make an abstract idea like -3 feel real? Well, according to this source, you anchor it to something people already know, something they can actually picture in their minds: a story. So let's start with a positive integer, an easy one. The source pulls this line straight from the story of David and Goliath: 5 stones. You can literally picture them. It's a real, countable thing. In the language of integers, that's just a simple, clear +5. And this is where it gets really clever, showing how the method works for negative numbers. Just look at those next 2 rows. The source connects negative integers to moving backward in time. So if today is 0 on a timeline, then the story of Jonah being in the whale for 3 days, well, that event can exist at -3. The exact same logic works for Lazarus being raised 5 days ago. That becomes -5. So you see what's happening here? This is the magic trick. The number isn't just a symbol on a page anymore. It's tied to an event, an action, a moment in a story we know. A negative number is no longer this weird idea of less than 0. It's 3 days ago, which is a concept that's way easier to grab onto. Okay, so that's the theory. It sounds good, right? But does it actually hold up when you try to solve problems with it? Let's check out the exercises and see how this goes, from just being a cool idea to a method that actually works. This is really where the rubber meets the road. The source material has these exercises that force you to apply this story logic. So let's break one of them down together. Okay, here we go. Step 1, you start with the story. Simple enough. Step 2, you pull out the real, tangible things. 5 loaves, 2 fishes. There are your positive integers, +5 and +2. And then look at step 3. It cleverly weaves in the negative concept by asking you to represent 1 day before, which, following the logic, becomes -1. The whole problem just lives inside this little story. All right, your turn. Here's another problem straight from the source. The story. Joseph was sold by his brothers for 20 pieces of silver. Now, based on everything we've just seen, would you call that 20 a positive integer or a negative one? Just take a second and think about it. The answer is a positive integer, +20. But why? Well, because it represents a concrete amount, a gain, something that was received in a transaction. It's a tangible pile of money, which fits that definition of a positive number we saw earlier. So when you step back and look at this whole approach, it really shines a light on something fundamental about how we learn. It's all about the incredible power of a good story to help us make sense of the world, even the really abstract parts, like math. So why does this actually work so well? It's because stories are like these powerful anchors for ideas that would otherwise just float away. They give us memorable hooks. I mean, it's way easier to remember David's 5 stones than just the number 5 by itself. This whole thing builds on knowledge people already have, and maybe most importantly, it gets us engaged. Our brains are just wired to love a good story. And that's really the big takeaway here. This whole case study, it isn't just about one specific book or one specific subject. It's a fantastic demonstration of a learning tool that works for anything. If you want to explain something complicated, try wrapping it in a story that people already get. And that kind of leaves us with one last thought to chew on. Think about it. Could we use famous fairy tales to explain the laws of physics? Or maybe use the plots of blockbuster movies to break down economic theories? What complex idea could you make simple just by finding the right story to tell? Thanks for joining us.